fourth graders, third and fourth graders. Sorry, I forgot this project was for both of you guys. Anyway, welcome back. I hope you had a wonderful spring break. I know it's a little bit different this year because kind of felt like you were already on a break, but we're going to start a new project. Hope you're ready to get back into school, and hope you got caught up on some of your other activities, your other homework assignments, and that you really had an enjoyable Easter and time to focus on. That you had some real time to focus on the resurrection and what Jesus has done for us, and just glad that you're back. So anyway, this is the project we're going to be working on. This is what I call it's a mixed media, which means there's a lot of different art mediums that have been used. In this one, we've actually done some Mod Podge, like decoupage. We've done a little bit of painting, even though it's marker. Done some cutouts, tearing of paper. So if you can see things any better. Okay. This is my Seahorse. And to do that, to start with, first of all, you're going to want some newspaper to put down on your work area, or whatever plastic, whatever your parents have to cover your workspace. You will need your instruction sheet. Either you got it with your packet when you picked up stuff Monday, or it's attached to your Google Classroom assignment. You will need a piece of the heavy drawing paper that you got from school, or if you have some of your own heavy construction paper, white. Okay. You will need kids markers, water soluble, particularly white. What's wrong with me? Particularly blue. And then if you want a couple other colors, you will need, if you have watercolors like these, you can use these, but not everybody has these, so that's why we're using markers. You will need some glue, just some white school glue, some water, something that you can mix a little bit of school glue and water in, and an old paintbrush, or something that you can paint. The glue should wash out pretty well. So it really doesn't have to be an old brush, but this brush had glaze in it. Anyway, so I think that's all you need to get started. So this is going to be at least a 2-week project we would have done. In school, it would have taken us at least 2 weeks, probably a little bit more. So that's what I'm going to expect at least 2 weeks for you to work on this, if not a 3rd week. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the background. This is the background. So what you need for that is your plain white paper. Okay. And at this point, be patient. See this old camera right here? I'm going to switch to that camera and kind of show you a close-up of how we're going to work on this. So be patient. I'll be right back. Okay. I'm back with my other camera. The other thing I forgot to tell you, you will need not on this step, but in the future, is just some either some magazine pages, or I don't know about you, but I get lots of junk catalogs and stuff in the mail, some junk, just junk flyers and stuff, as long as it's a thin enough paper, or just regular magazine. So you want some of that. Newspaper might be a little thin, but if that's all you have, that'll work too. But that'll be for the next step, but you might want to get that at some point. Okay, so you've got your white paper, you've got your table covered, and the first thing I'm going to do is take your blue, and what I would do first is just try a little bit, okay, because we all have different markers and we all have different blues and stuff. So put a little bit on. And I did give you some extra papers, so if we mess up, I think you've got enough to do a second try. Then I'm going to put some water on my paper towel, And then I'm just going to start rubbing over that. Don't rub too heavy because it's paper. It'll go through. You don't want to tear a hole in your paper. Okay? So that's not really as blue as I want it, so I'm going to go over mine with a little bit more. And I know that I'm going to want more as I go down my page. But I'm going to try it again and see what I get this time. Now, if you actually have watercolors and you know how to use those by putting water, and you could do your background with those if you would like. But since we don't all have those and we're not at school, this marker thing kind of replaces it. Okay? And so you want to do that all the way down your page. And I'm finding with my markers that I actually need quite a bit to make it look, give it that blue underwater feel that I kind of want. So I'm going to put mine on fairly heavy and kind of do a circular, because that gives you a little bit more of a underwater feel. You know how the water and bubbles and everything under the water kind of are a little bit more circular in motion. So that way it'll look a little bit more like water. If you're doing watercolor and brush, you don't really have to have, it doesn't matter what direction you are, because you're not going to show strokes. But like you don't want to go up and down like that, because you don't want, in your water, you don't want to have strokes like that. Okay? So you want to keep it so it's back and forth, circular, kind of wavy looking, and then just blend it all together. Okay. Now at this point, your paper should be fairly wet. Like I said, don't rub too hard or you'll rub a hole through it. Okay? Once it's like that, if you have a lighter color blue you want to use, or you want to just put a few more strokes, some little bubbly looking things on there, you can do that. Okay? Alright? Then this is going to be set aside to dry. Okay? Till our next step. You might be tired now and you might want to wait and do the next step later, but I'm going to keep moving on. You can always pause this, you can go back to it, however you want to work it out. Okay, so next step, if you picked it up at school, you might have already gotten a cutout that I already cut out for you. Okay, if you didn't, or for some reason you didn't have one of those in your pack, I just spilled my water, pooey. You can cut this out. This should be on if you have one of these in your pack, this is cardstock. If you still, for some reason, didn't get one of these in your pack, you can print this off, even if it's paper, and then what you want to do, sorry, my camera's not the greatest. What you want to do, then, is you're going to cut this guy out. Okay? I'm going to cut him out. Because this is the shape that we want to use. And this is just if you don't have. You have the cardboard cutout that I put in your pack, then you're good. You're good, and you can just wait a minute for the rest of us to catch up here. Okay? I'm gonna cut him out real fast. And that's why it says template. You know what template means? It means it's something that you can draw around it. You want to get the shape of it, so that way you could use this over and over again if you wanted to. Kind of the same idea of a cookie cutter, maybe, I guess. Okay, now I got my, and also on there are going to be all your instructions, all your directions too, so if you get lost along the way. Now, once you have this, oh yeah, another thing I forgot to tell you, you need a cereal box. Cereal box or any kind of that type of cardboard. This I have here is milk chocolate gingerbread assortment. That must have been donated by somebody else. Those look yummy. Anyway, so what you're going to do is you're going to take your cardboard, okay, and you're going to lay. Now, I don't do this side because it's hard to see. I want to put it on this side, and you're going to lay him on there, and then you're going to go around him. Okay? You're going to draw around this guy. So even if this one's on paper, it won't matter as long as you go around. You got to hold it down a little harder when it's on paper, because you're going to put the finished one on the cardboard box. Okay? Oops, I forgot his nose. Okay. So now, once you have this, you're going to cut it out so that you have something like this. Okay? Since I've already cut mine out, I'm not cutting another one out right now. Now, once you have him cut out, you're going to take your magazine page, and because your background is blue already from the water, if you see mine, see how mine's blue, okay? You want your seahorse to kind of stand out. So you want to make him kind of warm colors, and what I mean by warm colors are like your reds and your yellows and oranges and these purples. You could have a little bit of blue, but don't do a lot of blue because you want it to stand out from your blue background. Okay, so flip through here and you're going to find there's some nice orange right there. I think I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that just to start with. You really aren't going to need a lot, but you're going to tear those up into pieces. And some of you guys, this is kind of like what we did with paper mache, but instead of wanting to cover up, paint this stuff when we're done, we want it to be our color. And this is kind of good for the way we're doing this at school stuff, because since we don't have a lot of paint and things, we can get color from junk mail. Okay, so once you have that, now that's kind of hard to see, isn't it? All right. We take just about a tablespoon of glue. You're not going to have a lot. Okay. And then you're going to take just a little bit of water. You're going to stir it up. I might have got a little too much water, but if you get a little too much water, you just add a little bit more glue. I think I'll add a little bit more glue. You want it kind of the consistency of old milk. Ugh. A little bit thick. Kind of thin, but a little bit thick. If that makes any sense. Okay? About like that. See, it runs a little bit. Okay, so then once you have that, and there's no right or wrong, you could actually do it with glue straight out of the bottle, but it just is a little harder and doesn't go on as well. So what you want to do now is you want to cover parts of your seahorse, and you want to start gluing that down. I glued it there, now I'm gluing on top because I'm going to glue another piece on top of that. Okay, and another piece on top of that. Every time I glue some on there, I want to put more glue on top so that these can start sticking together. Okay, put some over there. Now overlap I've overlapped my seahorse edges. Okay, you want to overlap them. Because we're going to trim them off afterwards, so it's okay if you don't have to get it right on the very edge. Okay. Now you want to do that. Cover the entire seahorse. So when you're doing it, when you're cutting out your magazine pieces, make sure you get enough out there to cover. Obviously, I didn't. In a hurry. I probably won't cover all mine right now. But keep covering it. Once you get all the paper on, then make sure that it all has, see how shiny? You want to make sure it all has a finished coat of glue on it. Now, because it is wet, it's going to curl pretty good. But as it dries, you'll be able to flatten it back out. Once it dries, because it's going to happen, once you get it all covered, you're going to set it aside for a while. And once it dries, then you're going to take your scissors and you're going to, look at those eyes, how funny. You're going to trim once it dries. It's kind of hard when it's wet, but you're going to trim around all these edges. Okay, so then you'll have a nice edge there, all right? So once you've got that done, let me see. We will get right back to you. I'll catch up with you in a minute. So you keep working on that and I'll be back. Okay, we're back. So, I don't know if you have, I'm gonna do like that. You've got your Seahorse all covered. Okay. Now, if you notice, I use smaller sheet pieces too. I want to make sure you use small pieces. You want to overlap the pieces because that gives it interest. Now, I've got mine covered, but he needs his shape back. So, see where this is all hanging off? Okay. See all that excess? Okay. I'm going to turn over from this side where I can see it. I'm going to trim all that off. And you want to wait till it's dry, because that's hard to trim when it's wet. I know, it's sometimes hard to trim anyway, but I just love those eyes. It's so funny. And if you have trouble, you might have a parent or somebody that can help you cut that a little bit. Have somebody there that can use well, I won't even say it. Never mind. Okay. If you have little skinny sharp scissors that are sharp on the tips, like these are kind of sharp on the tip, that helps get into those little areas. Yeah, if you need help, don't hesitate to ask, because it is a little hard to cut some of this off. But don't hesitate to ask somebody at your house to help you. You could also, if you really got desperate, you could just fold. See where that is? You could just fold it over. Okay. So now I have my Seahorse shape. I almost even have an eye there. Sheesh. Okay. And I have my background now. Now everything's probably curled on you. So if you just take it over the edge of your table or something, you can kind of straighten it out. Sorry, I can't really show you that, but anyway. Just kind of straighten the paper out. And I have a really wet work spot. Look at that. Okay. So now you got paper and you got Seahorse. Now for the Seahorse, you're going to just take, probably glue stick is all you need for this guy. You're going to put him on something where you won't mess up your table. But even though we're just using glue stick, you want to like cover it. You want to put quite a bit on there. Okay. And then I'm going to put him right in the middle of the ocean there. And keep pressing him down. Like I tell little kids, count to 20. 20 seconds should hold him. But the whole time you're counting, push him down. If your hands are a little sticky, sometimes it helps just to, this way you can rub him without tearing him up. And just do that for about 20 seconds. You can count to 20 seconds. Okay. So once we have him on there, the paper's still going to want to curl, but it's just the way it goes. Once you got him on there, now if you picked your stuff up at school, I had stuck a, you should have a Google eye. I don't have my Google eye anymore. You should have got a Google eye, like this guy. If you didn't, on your Seahorse, cut on your instruction page, I have an eye you can cut out there if you want, or you could cut out, you could do your own eye. You could cut it out of some white paper and color it in. You can make it different colors if you want it. Anyway, so you have the option. If you, or maybe you have Google eyes at home, even if I didn't give you one. So you could use a Google eye, paper eye. If you use a paper eye, you can probably just glue that on with a glue stick. If you use a Google eye, I would probably get some of my school glue, and you don't need a ton, but you need some. What's wrong with you? Just a little dab, and then put your eye on there. Okay. Now once you've got that done, you've almost got him done. You can take, you could do some more of the bubble things if you haven't already, with some, maybe some greens. If you've got white paint you're using, your white paint markers. Down here at the bottom, you could put some colors, and then have some seaweed growing up maybe. If you had construction paper, you could do cut some green construction paper out and do that. Maybe you want some little bit coral, however that looks, or some underwater kind of plants. Maybe shells you could draw in there. You could also, if you have the stuff, you could also do some, you could put some, because I know some of you guys have lots of art supplies at home. You could do, you could fancy him up with some sequins or some glitter. Maybe even put some sequins in the water, glue those on. But for the most part, we are done with our beautiful Seahorse, other than you must put your name on it. Where do we put it? Very small down here. Not very small, but like an artist, okay? You don't want to draw your name right across him or real big on the side, because you won't want to take away from your artwork. You want to put your name down around here. Now on this one, for some reason I didn't think he was showing up. I went around him with a black marker. If you do that, you got to be careful you don't get into your water. And obviously I had two different color blue markers. This, and then this eye, I actually just drew right on. See a black eye? Okay. Alright, you could draw, you could put a fish in there, come think of it. You could have some other little fish swimming around. You know, maybe. Something along that line. Anything to give it like an underwater feel. Okay. Are we good? I think we've done a good job. Okay, I'm not switching back to my other camera, I don't think. So, like I said, this should probably take you 2 weeks, maybe 3. I think I won't have the due date for, we'll give you 2 weeks. I'll give you 2 weeks on, but that due date and everything will be in your Google Classroom. This will be in your Google Classroom, your instructions, samples of this guy, and I said turn it in on your Google Classroom or email it to me, and I think that is it. I will be glad to hopefully see you again sometime before school's out. We'll have to see, but anyway, we say good afternoon, and we will see you later. Bye-bye.